Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Connected Women Win. This year, I decided to do something extremely special. Instead of doing book studies or book clubs for people's books, who are phenomenal, by the way, but people's books that I didn't know, I decided that I wanted to introduce you or reintroduce to others people that I know, people who I've seen their journey. Either they've inspired me or we've been in this thing together in some capacity. And today I am extremely excited to introduce my friend Toni Purry. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I've been on Clubhouse since January. And Toni and I did this challenge in, I think it was January, where we decided to come on every day except for the weekends. And every week we come on Clubhouse. So some of you all are going to be like, that's Toni. But for some of you, I wanted to just introduce my good friend to you and a phenomenal woman. And we're going to go on a journey today and just share she's going to share some insight into her life, her story, just everything. So buckle up and let's get ready for the ride. Hey, Toni.
Hey, Tasha, I'm so happy to be here.
I am excited to be here with you. And Toni, I know your story, but I love hearing it over and over again. Can you just tell everybody, first of all, who is Toni Purry?
Oh my goodness. I am I am a happy wife. I am an entrepreneur. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I am definitely a visionary. I'm somebody who has this sort of insatiable ambition. I'm a person that wants to have impact and a big encourager. I would say I'm a big time cheerleader and a hype woman, if you will. um, I'm many things, and I think most of us are. And I think I'm finally coming to a place where I'm embracing all of the things that I am as something that's a good thing, and not all over the place, but just a woman of many things.
Yes. And Toni, you and we've talked before on what people think success looks like. You know, a lot of times when they see accomplishments that we've done, they think, oh, she just woke up like this, or so she's been here the whole time, right? And one of the things that I love hearing from you is you have a story and it's powerful of your beginnings. And I feel like that story, it may not have been the beginning, but it definitely was a monumental moment in your life. And you know the story I'm talking about. Can you unpackage that for us?
I can. So Tasha is talking about my pursuit to become Miss Alabama. So I was actually the first African American woman to hold a Miss Alabama title. And I say a Miss Alabama title because there is the Miss Alabama that goes to the Miss America pageant. There's the Miss Alabama USA that goes to the Miss USA pageant. However, when I decided to pursue that, I didn't know that was what it was. I didn't know anything about pageants, knew nothing about the pageant landscape. But where I got started in that was I didn't go straight to college from high school. And when I decided to go, my parents were so over the moon happy that I finally decided to buckle down and do what they wanted me to do, that my dad said, I'll pay for college. Well, I had been living out on my own with roommates and had a job as a manager and all that. And so I didn't want to live on campus and I didn't want to have to move back home, even though I was going to school in my hometown. So I asked my dad if he'd pay for my apartment as well as for school. And he said, I'll pay for one, but not both, because you can either live on campus or live at home. So I started thinking, how do I find a scholarship that would take care of 3 semesters, which would be an entire year, and then I could sign a year lease and I'd be set. And I found out that the pageant that I went to Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama, and the pageant there gave away a 3-semester scholarship. So I thought, how hard can it be? You put on a swimsuit, you answer a question, you put on a gown, you get 3 semesters. I was very naive, obviously, about how pageants operate and work. But I did enter that pageant and was very diligent about figuring out, what all does it take to become Miss Hornet was the campus title. so that I could win those 3 semesters. And in the interest meeting, I found out that it was a preliminary actually to the Miss Alabama pageant. And that person went on to Miss America. I also
Mhm.
found out there had never been an African American winner for the Miss Alabama system, either one. And I was shocked. I mean, I could not believe that. And so that became my goal. I wanted to figure out how can I become Miss Alabama so that it levels the playing field so that, all girls could aspire, to
Mhm.
do that. And so I competed in the Miss Hornet pageant, and I was very diligent to do all the things that they said to do, to be up on my current events and to practice my talent and all of the things. And I did everything, and I ended up winning Miss Hornet. So now I'm on my way to Miss Alabama. I got my 3 semesters, so I was able to sign a year lease. My parents were happy. Everything was good in the world. But now I had this new goal for myself. And this new goal was to become Miss Alabama, to level this playing field. So after I got in the Miss Hornet pageant, won the Miss Hornet pageant, I go to Miss Alabama and I'm competing in that pageant and I make the top 10. Well, it was the first time in the history of our school that any of the Miss Hornet contestants had ever made top 10. So the school was thrilled. I was
Mhm.
like, this is the consolation prize because I came here to win. But because I hadn't aged out yet, it goes up to a certain age. I don't know what it is now, but I think it was like 23 or 24 at that time.
Mhm.
Um, that I could just go back again. But in order to go back again, I had to compete in another preliminary pageant. So the Miss Hornet pageant was a preliminary to the Miss Alabama pageant. So I thought,
Mhm.
no problem, I'll do that. So I competed in my first one and I was first runner up. So I competed in another one and I was first runner up. I competed in another one and I was first runner up. Now, mind you, during this whole time that I'm doing this competing, everybody is telling me Alabama's not going to have a Black winner. My dad, my professors, people all around me were saying Alabama's not going to have a Black winner. Just focus on your education. And honestly, they weren't dream killers. They
Yeah.
were the people that were realist. They just knew what history had, they subscribed to what history had told them. And I, for some reason, just didn't believe that. I was like, nope,
Mhm.
Alabama's going to have a Black winner, and I'm going to be that person that does it. So I competed
Mhm.
in my fourth pageant. I was first runner up. Now, mind you, I'm competing in these small town, all around Alabama pageants, and I am oftentimes the only Black contestant amongst about 23, 25 other um, um, other contestants.
Mhm.
So now I'm competing in my fifth one. I'm first runner up again. This is like crazy. Most people don't do that many pageants in a lifetime, let alone all in one year.
Mhm.
So now I'm starting to think maybe everybody is right. And I compete in my sixth pageant. I'm second runner up. So
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? I compete in my seventh pageant. And now there are only 2 more pageants before the year is up, before the actual Miss Alabama pageant. And I think I'm first runner up again. I am devastated. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? It's right. Everybody's right. Alabama's not going to have a Black winner. This is a crazy dream that I'm, chasing. And I met Debbie Turner, who was Miss America 1990, believe it
Wow.
was. And she was the host for the Miss Hornet pageant where I was giving up my title. She was the MC. And she told me not to give up. She had a
Wow.
similar experience, but hers was over a period of years. And she said, don't give up. Do that last one. Go in, do you, be you, do it your way. And I did it. And that one I went in and I thought, I'm not giving the PC answers. I'm wearing what I want to wear. I'm doing it my own way. Now,
Yes.
I will tell you, during the whole time, I had a tremendous amount of support at Alabama State. My mentor, Kenneth Dean, who was over the pageant, would set up these mock interviews for me with professors and deans and administrators and they would do these mock interviews with me where they were asking me about current events and political affairs and social issues and all sorts of things like that. So I had a lot to prepare me. And so I go into this last one and I'm like, I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it. And I end up winning. So now that means I get to go back to the Miss Alabama pageant again. I get back to Miss Alabama. I'm ready to win. I've had a whole year of practice because I've done all these preliminaries. I know all the girls in the pageant system now because I've competed with them at some place along the way. And I make top 10 again. I am devastated. I'm shocked that I don't win because I really felt like I had earned it. And there were a lot of people that came up and told my mom, your daughter was robbed. She should have won. It was really interesting. About a month or so after that, the director of the Miss Alabama USA pageant called me and she said, I'd love for you to compete in my pageant. Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing pageants anymore. I'm not some pageant bunny. Alabama's not going to have a black winner. So I did none of the things to prepare. 3 months later, that pageant was, June, July, August, September, October. 4 months later was her pageant. And I decided I wasn't going to do it. And I told my parents and my mom and Mr. Dean, I'm not doing it. Don't ask me about any pageants. They kept trying to encourage me. And I finally just put my foot down and said, I'm done. The night before that pageant, the Miss Alabama USA pageant started, one of the judges from the very first pageant that I did, the Miss Hornet pageant, found out that I had decided not to compete. And he called me and read me the riot act. He was like, have you not learned anything? You get yourself up to that pageant and you compete and you do not let anything or anybody or any system tell you what your destiny is. Like, he's not going to let me in. It's the night before the pageant. Now, this one, you went straight to the pageant. There were no preliminaries. You paid an entrance fee and an application process. And I'm like, I haven't even gone through the application process. He said, just call her. So I hang up, I call her. She says, Toni, so nice to hear from you. I wondered what had happened. I got your application, but I never heard anything else from you. Well, I later found out that my mom and Mr. Dean had actually sent in an application for me. Unbeknownst to me, they had done that earlier that summer while I was saying, no, I'm not doing this. So that allowed me to be able to get in the pageant. I go in that night. I make the top, they have a top 12. I make the top 12. It was either 12 or 15. And then they have a top 6. I make the top 6. And then they are down to the top 3. And the top 3 were me, a girl by the name Kaylin Chapman, and another girl named Anna Mingus. And Anna Mingus was the favorite. I mean, beautiful, beautiful girl with this gorgeous brunette hair and olive skin and green eyes and all the things. And so they call the second runner-up. Now, Kaylin had been first runner-up at the Miss Alabama pageant the year before when we competed together. So I had 2 people that were kind of the favorites over me in the public eye. Wow. So they call the second runner-up, and the second runner-up is Kaylin. So now it's me and Anna. And they say, and the winner is, they call my name. It was monumental. It was crazy. Wow. It was unbelievable. It was exciting. And it was groundbreaking. And so, and that night, I ended up breaking a 72-year glass ceiling for pageant history of Alabama. And it became a very pivotal point for me in my life about that determination and destiny and just having that fire in your belly, whether people say you can do it or not, or whether they believe it's possible or not, and just sticking really, really firmly to your own convictions. And so it became, a big thing, a big achievement.
Wow. Let me tell you, I believe in timing. I believe timing is everything. And I know that you and I have tried to do this interview how many times? I don't even know. And it never just seemed to be the right time. But when I tell you that what you just said, I needed to hear that today. You said something that just sent chills down my spine when you said that the gentleman told you, don't let anyone determine your destiny.
Yeah.
Toni, that is huge. And visionaries, you can relate to this because visionaries, we see things sometimes that other people don't see.
Exactly.
And you saw yourself.
I did. Tasha, when I tell you, I saw it so clearly. woman of faith, and my mom always was really great about teaching us about Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain. So all over my apartment were these little Post-it notes. I wish I still had them, that said Toni Johnson, Miss Alabama. My maiden name is Johnson. And so I had it on the thermostat. I had it on the microwave. I had notes in the freezer. I had it on the answering machine. I had it over the TV. I had it on my nightstand, on my alarm clock. I had it in my bathroom. Had it in my shower. I mean, I had it everywhere. I had it on the door, leaving out the door. Everywhere, everything around me said Toni Johnson, Miss Alabama. Yeah. And I had that vision. And it's amazing when you have that vision and when you really, so I did the thing that helped me maintain that vision, because I had a cacophony of people saying Alabama is not going to have a Black winter. And I could have subscribed to that because they were people that loved me and respected me and wanted the best for me and thought they were giving me really good sage advice, But I did the thing that I needed to keep my vision, to keep my dream, to keep the prize in my line sight, so that I could continue to pursue it no matter how many people were saying around me. Wow. And that really paid off for me, because I didn't do it at the time. I did it just because that's what the Bible said to do. This is what you say, Yeah. But I realized in hindsight that obedience to that word was how I set myself up to insulate myself from other people and their limited, beliefs. Right. And so it became this thing that I learned in my life. Oh, this is why you write the vision and make it plain, because there will be people that won't get it. And they're not, like I said, they weren't dream killers at all. They were just realists. My dad would say, I'm a realist, and I'm telling you, this is life. Right. Like, you just watch and see, I'm going to be Miss Alabama, and you're going to go, you said it, Yeah.
That's so powerful. So powerful. And then fast forward, okay, so you've had this monumental lifelong lesson that you can carry throughout your entire life. But as visionaries, we don't just stay in that. Right. We don't just celebrate what happened before. Right. People, and you get this, that we have to be challenged, to keep going, to keep growing. So fast forward, you actually had this dream of writing a book, and you birthed your first book. So I love this story, Toni, because to me, it just speaks to the person who says, but I used to do this, or I used to do that. There's more. So tell us about the more and how the book came about.
Okay, so let me tell you this quick story. So I ran a PR agency for 10 years, as you know. And when I launched that agency, I launched it because I had worked in-house, done in-house PR for many years. I came to LA, I started freelancing. My very first client was your former employer because of you, Attorney Jack Smith. And that gave me a taste of, this is what it could be like to actually grow this into a company and become an agency. So what I did was I took a very low-level position with a PR agency. And this was after holding executive level positions in my career. I took a low-level position here at a PR agency just because I wanted to just do the work and be able to look and see how does this work? How do these companies operate? How do PR agencies work? And I did that for a couple of years. And then when I decided to stop, I was ready to step off and do my own. A really fun thing happened. So Tasha, you and I have always been different. I say we're friend tours, and this is Tasha's my ride or fly friend. Tasha will say, Toni, we're gonna jump out of the plane. I'm like, but Tasha, girl, we'll figure out how to build the wings. And I am like, okay. So Tasha's always been that person to me. You've always been that person to me. I am contemplative, and I call myself a strategic. No, what do I call it? a what is it? I use the term all the time. I am a calculated risk taker, which
Yeah.
sounds like an oxymoron. I am the type, if I dip my toe in the pool and it doesn't feel fantastic, I'm not jumping in. Or
Right.
I just have to convince myself, just run and jump in the water. If I just run and jump in, I'm going to make it work. And so when I decided to leave the agency, I thought, okay, I want to know how this works. I had an opportunity to do some PR for somebody. I also had three offers for VP positions at other agencies.
Right.
And I eventually got promoted at the agency where I was. And so what ended up happening is the day that I was leaving that job, somebody contacted me that heard that I was leaving. And she said, it was December 5th. She said she was a director of sales for a big luxury hotel. She said, I hear you are about to be a free agent. And I said, well, yeah, I'm trying to decide which way I should go. And she said, well, I'm going to be on for the month of December. So I want to talk to you about doing PR for my hotel. And I said, great. So I'm thinking, I have a whole month to decide what I want to do. I said, great, we'll meet the 1st of January. She said, I want you working while I'm gone. So we signed a contract the next day. So that was my jump in the pool and how I launched my company. Well, now my agency was fantastic. I had, it was a boutique agency, maximum 8 employees. We had an incredible roster of clients, everything from luxury hotels, destinations, airlines, high-end shopping centers. We also were a generalist agency in that we had other types of clients as well, but the tourism and travel was the lion's share of my business. After 8 years of doing this, I hit this point where I wasn't challenged anymore. I wasn't excited about what I was doing. We were an award-winning company. We won over 50 awards. I had a rock star team of employees, but I just was not fulfilled with what I was doing anymore. And it's because I was no longer challenged. I could dial it in and it just wasn't doing anything for me. So to your point, as visionaries, we do have to kind of constantly have that challenge. And it's, I think, why we're always so full of ideas and why the ambition is constantly fueled with more creative ideas. And when you find yourself in a routine where you can do it without really thinking of it, we're not living our best when we do that. No. So I struggled with giving myself permission to leave my agency because it was well, and I had great employees and I had great clients. I mean, an enviable roster of clients. Every big box hotel, we represented Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott, InterContinental, boutique hotels, big, huge shopping plazas, beautiful destinations. But I would lay in my bed thinking, I think I have a sore throat. Maybe I shouldn't go in today into my own beautiful creative office space, And and so when you don't, as you know, as an entrepreneur, when you aren't loving your business, there's not for much for it to reciprocate. So that causes strain on the business. And I decided to scale back, transition my employees over to contract employees, and moved out of our creative office space. And Tasha, I found myself at home feeling so, my confidence was completely depleted. I felt like such a loser because I had this thing that was working, but it didn't make me happy anymore. And I had no clue what I wanted to do next. Well, I happened to walk through the living room and my husband was watching a documentary about Muhammad Ali. And in that moment, I was captivated by his confidence. How did this man maintain his confidence in the face of defeat? How did he maintain it when the country despised him because he didn't support the Vietnam War? How did he maintain it even when he was stricken with Parkinson's disease? Every image that you can think of him was this image of confidence. A couple of clips later, I see Boondini Brown, his hype man, his quarter man, in his face right before he's going into a fight, ardently yelling and reminding him of his knockouts, his wins, that he is the greatest, that he is the champ, people that he beat. And I thought, well, if we all had a hype man reminding us of our wins, we have confidence as well. But in that moment, I really felt the Lord say to me, you need to make yourself a hype book. So
Mm.
in the middle of my living room floor, I pulled a journal off my shelf, cut out pictures, and really started journaling in great detail about my wins, about
Wow.
my accomplishments, taking inventory of who I am and where my gifts are. I mean,
Yeah.
things from when I was younger, things from college, the
Mm.
Miss Alabama stuff, things like even big accounts that we won with my agency, pro bono work that we had done, personal things like running the LA Marathon. When
Mm.
I did that for 2 days I sat in my living room floor. My husband could see, let me just stay away from her because she is in a zone. And he was right. But
Oh,
Tasha, I
wow.
can tell you, 2 days of doing that, there was this ascension of confidence that rose up in me because I switched from seeing myself and feeling sorry for myself and feeling like things were hopeless to seeing myself through my success lens and
Mm.
realizing, oh my gosh, I have all of this to build on.
Mm.
The sky's the limit what I can do next. It was
Mm.
just amazing that this paradigm shift in how I saw myself, the mindset, had such
Yeah.
an impact on how I felt about myself and the excitement about what I thought was ahead.
Yeah.
Um, and so a girlfriend sent me a text message during that time and asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm making a hype book. She's like, what's a hype book? I'm like, it's the best thing ever. It's when you sit down and take inventory of your gifts and your talents. And she's like, oh my gosh, Toni, that's amazing. Everybody needs one. I said, I know. That's why you need to do it. She's like, oh gosh, Toni, no. Everyone needs one and you need to write that book.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, and that put me on a 9-month journey of
Mm-hmm.
writing what is now called my hype book. And it's a guided motivational, guided motivational journal that walks you through the process of really taking inventory of who you are, who God created you to be, the things that you've overcome, the lessons that you've learned, the accomplishments that you have, the innate abilities that you have that you weren't taught, that you just, I mean, it's a real opportunity to just reflect and to see who you are and to be
Right.
really proud of yourself. Because
Wow.
I think so often we look at ourselves through the lens of other people or through the society's lens that is always telling us we're not enough.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to switch that and take a real look at who we are and feel really proud about that.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, I had went back because I got this book when you first published
Yeah.
it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was going back through and looking at some of the things that I wrote in this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow.
Yes.
And it makes me want to now go back and do this again,
Yeah.
just where I'm at now in this season of life. But you're so right, Toni. I love that you said we have to look through our success lens.
Yes.
You
Exactly.
know,
That's usually think about it. That's how God sees us.
yes.
That's how you see your daughter. You may know
Yes.
your daughter has messed up. There are things that she's done that, you're not
You know?
exactly proud or excited about, but that's not who
Mhm.
you see when you look at her.
That's
You
right.
see all the promise, you see
Yeah.
the achievements, you see the hard work, you see the
Mhm.
discipline, you see all of that's how God sees us. And I think that's how he wants us to see ourselves. Because
Yeah.
when we see ourselves that way, we show up in
Yeah.
ways that are incredible.
Yeah. And he sees all of our possibilities.
Oh, yes.
Every last one of them. You
Yep.
know, it's really good. I love this one right here. I'm just kind of flipping through some of the things that I wrote in here, but this page is about our personal declarations. And I think that
Mm.
really does speak to the self talk. You know, we
Yeah.
have to think it and we have to speak it.
Right.
And I loved how you, earlier in this conversation, you were saying how you put the sticky notes everywhere for Miss Alabama.
Mhm.
And I think that was you setting yourself up for success.
It
That was you
was.
taking responsibility for your success.
Yeah.
And Toni, what did it take for that? And even for you completing this book on this 9-month journey, what did it take for you to dig deeper, even in the face of doubt?
Uh, what I will say, faith has always been,
Mhm.
key factor for me. But I think I've become so, Tasha, in everything that I've done, I realize I've become so convinced of
Mhm.
the destination And I know you've done this too, because sometimes you see yourself there so much that all the things that you're doing become sort of formality because you're going to see. But then what happens, you get there, it's not as exciting as you thought it would be because you've already experienced that excitement the whole long time, along the way. I mean, when I was in Miss Alabama, I was excited. Everybody was like so excited. And I remember one of my sister was like, "Why aren't you as excited as?" And I'm like, "Girl, I have been here."
Yeah,
In my
that's so
mind,
true.
I have been here. And it's not that it's not any less. It's just I've had an exciting journey. The journey for me became an exciting possibility because I was just knocking out the formalities, whether it was being patient or whether it was my hard work or whether it was practicing discipline or whatever I needed to do to check the boxes to get myself that much closer. But I was always envisioning myself. So I think that seeing myself in that place has been the thing that has kept the fuel for me. Now, I will say with the book, I was just writing. I didn't know. God had me in this really beautiful, special place because I'd never written a book. I hadn't planned on writing this book. It was all a very organically inspired process.
Wow.
And so I was inspired from everything. I'd hear somebody's conversations and be inspired. I'd hear, a mother and daughter talking in the grocery store and, be inspired. Everything around me inspired me. I then became really excited about the book and I had no finish date in mind. I was just going to finish it when I finished it. And I remember even asking myself, is this book designed to help me? Was this just something for me to get me through my hump? Or was this something that could really resonate with other people? Right. So I got this opportunity, was invited to Boston to speak for this commercial real estate development company. And that came about because of a journalist that I used to bring out to LA to cover our clients on a regular basis from Boston. She called me and found out that I wasn't doing my agency anymore. She's like, "Wait, what?" And I said, "I'm working on a book." She said, "Tell me about the book." I told her, and she said, "Well, I do this contract work for this big commercial real estate development company, and they have this big event every year. Can I mention your name to the founder? I mean, to the senior VP?" Yeah. And I said, "Sure," thinking nothing would come of it, She calls me back a few days later and she says, "He doesn't want you for the big event. He wants you for your own event, and he's going to buy the book for everybody in attendance."
I love it.
Oh my gosh, now we got to finish this book, And I say this because I brought my graphics designer who worked with my agency. I brought her in at the very beginning of when I was writing the book, maybe 3 months in, because I was very intentional about the design process. So she was actually designing while I was writing. So it was very much a collaborative, effort. Her name was Joanna Holden with Modular Inc. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic experience. But all of a sudden we're like, "Oh my gosh, girl, we got to get this book done because we got a big speaking engagement in a couple of months." And so we did that. And the way we actually did it is I launched the book on Kickstarter because I now I couldn't go through traditional publishing. Self-publishing wasn't going to work in terms of the design that I had. I had to actually do it on my own. And so I launched on Kickstarter, and that was a great way for me to see if this resonated with other people, or was it just a thing that God did that was really sweet for me. And Tasha, I tell you, I didn't know how all-consuming crowdfunding is, first of all, because that was all my time. I didn't have any time to do any PR around the book, but we met our goal within less than 2 weeks of launching. And then exceeded it by 30% by the end. So it was a big nod, and it was men and women, and that it resonated with. And I kind of thought, women are who need this, but I think my husband said to me, he said, "Toni, I remember asking, is this going to really help people?" And he said, "Toni, who was your muse for this book? If Muhammad Ali, the most confident man in the world that we all know, If he needed
Mhm.
a hype man, then this will be good for everybody because we all need, we need that encouragement. And what better place for it to come from than
I love
ourselves
it.
because we know
Mhm.
ourselves so well.
Yeah, that's really good. So the book is birthed, you're getting requested to speak, people are ordering as individuals. What do you see next for this book, Tony? Or for this mission? Because that's what it is.
Oh goodness, that is so interesting because I do a lot of speaking now with the book. I actually do workshops within corporations and companies and women's network groups and ministries as well, um,
Yeah.
around the book, and I want to do more of that. That's where I see. But to be very honest, kind of the bigger picture is I'd like to see other and plan to do other iterations for the book. The book is really very general right now, but I'd like to do one that's geared for children. I'd like to do one that's specific to couples. I'd like to do one that's specific to entrepreneurs. And then I've even
Nice.
had, some like one woman who has a special needs child. She said she would love to have one done for those moms because a lot of times mothers, it can feel very defeating when
Mhm, mhm.
you are a mother in general, but then especially a mother of a special needs child.
I love that. And one of the things that you're always talking about, which is kind of like the theme throughout your Miss Alabama story, between your PR agency, between this and everything you're gonna do after, is what's on here. Believe your hype.
Yeah, it is.
You
It is. Here's the thing: is if you believe your hype, if you do, you know you better than anybody. You know
know?
all the things that you've accomplished. I love that you said you went back to look in the book because that's what it's designed
Yeah,
for. It's designed
yeah.
for us to do it, and then it's designed for us to reflect, so
Mhm.
that the wins, the gifts, the talents become the forefront of what we see and we think of ourselves, not the hypercriticism that we can actually sometimes inflict way too much of on ourselves.
Yeah,
And um and and it just helps you to believe in yourself really, that much more. If we believe our hype, other
yeah,
people will. And I think that is an intentional process that we have to do because life happens,
yeah,
and our confidence can be shaken by a
yeah.
myriad of things. And so, how do you grab a hold of that? Because it's essential. Confidence wins over competence on many of occasions. So
Right.
when you think about that, you think a really good statistic that I like to share is when I'm talking to women in particular, that men will apply for a job with 60% of the qualifications, whereas a woman feels like she has to have 100+% of the qualifications before
Right.
people will throw her name in the hat. However, when you see yourself for all your accomplishments, when you see
Mhm.
yourself for all that you've done, the things that you've overcome, that becomes um, that fuel for you to believe your hype and to show up
Mhm.
for yourself in a way that allows other people to believe in you as well. And I think that's important.
Tony, you have done an amazing, amazing job with this book. It's beautiful. The content is rich and so needed. This is me personally saying, I'm going to go back through this book
Oh,
and really dig into it because there's still some blank lines, even though I did do it. There's some blank spaces, but you have demonstrated for us you have become all of our hype person by doing this book for us. You shared with us your personal journey, but now it's like we get to have a piece of Tony with us, you know. But you've given us a huge permission slip in the form of a book to
yeah.
say, don't just start with me and don't depend on me. You be this for yourself too, but
Read this
you
for yourself.
led by example.
Yeah, it is tapping into your inner advocate. How do
Mhm.
you advocate for
Yes,
yourself?
that's it.
How do you advocate? You have to be your biggest advocate because you don't always have those cheerleaders around you. And so this is
Mhm.
a tool that really helps you to do that so that you can show up for yourself in
Yeah.
in the very very best form. There's in the book, there are three things that are essential to the book. It's one, taking the time to reflect and take inventory, of
Mhm.
those. The other thing is, writing down what those things are. I mean, just be in detail, because here's the thing is, if you have a failure or a setback, you will pick that thing apart like you were doing major surgery on it. I should have, I didn't, this could have. But when you achieve things, we often achieve it and then we're on to the next, and we achieve it and we're on to the next. And so there's a part in the book that's about celebrating yourself. How do you
Wow.
celebrate those wins? How do you celebrate those achievements? How do you celebrate the things that you've overcome, those accomplishments? And I say
Mhm.
it's important to celebrate them. And it's different than rewarding yourself for doing good. It is celebrating, because when you get a big account, I'm like, girl, we got to go celebrate. I
Yeah.
don't see a need to reward you for that.
Right.
I'm saying, let's commemorate this moment. Let's make a thing of it so that we remember this time that you did, that this thing that you did. So there's a section in the book that also helps you to think of different ways that you can celebrate yourself, that you can
Yeah.
celebrate your accomplishments, because those commemorations make them allow them to be more prevalent in your memory, and again, allow you to see yourself with just that much more confidence and enthusiasm about yourself, and also much easier for you to tap into that inner advocate.
I love it. I love it. Well, Toni, you done, like you said in your book, bravo.
Oh, thank you.
You've done an amazing job. Thank you so much for sharing yourself with us. Thank you for leaving a legacy, for us and so many others to come. I know clients who could benefit from this book for sure. But Toni, you are an amazing, girl. And I want to put your contact information on here. Y'all, if you need a speaker, if you need a hype person for you, for your audience, for your tribe, whatever that looks like, Toni Purry is the girl, is the woman, not girl. She's the woman for the mission. And we have her contact information on here. She's on Instagram, Facebook. Where else are you, Toni?
I'm on Clubhouse with you.
Yes. Every Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Not what is it? What's the Pacific time?
Yes.
Yes.
I know.
And
every Wednesday we're doing our year of ask, because we are determined to live without limits. And
that's right.
It's a really, really good time. It's Tasha and I taking our normal conversations to a public, platform, and we've been having a really wonderful time doing it. That was another one of those things where Tasha was like, "Let's do it, Toni. Let's do it on Clubhouse." Okay, great. Let's do it every day for the month of January. Really, Tasha?
Every day.
And it worked really well.
Yeah. I'm so excited for we've been in this friendship thing for 25 years now. And it's iron sharpens iron, and we're still growing. Still learning.
I love the relationship. I love the friendship. I love the friendship that we have.
For sure. Like one day is my turn, the other day is your turn.
You just talk back and forth. I know.
Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. This has been really, really, really fantastic. I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. You are impacting women, and girl, you're impacting people of all, coming from all backgrounds, genders, races, social strata. I mean, you really are that person, and I'm so proud to call you friend, and so happy to be able to share this platform with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Toni. And y'all look for Toni, follow Toni, and there's more to come. That's all I know. There's more to come. So y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.